It is Wednesday, my dudes. um, Someone wanted me to say that. There you go. So we're going to talk about coffee and rituals and digestion. There's a lot of things that I say that people often take out of context. I think that's one of the biggest problems with language, is people focus and key in on small aspects. It's like taking a quote out of a book and forgetting the entire book. It had an entirely different lesson. So it's kind of what we focus on. And often I speak of smoke and alcohol and coffee and different types of substances that we ingest. Everything is a chemical. Everything is a substance that has an effect on the body, and we really have to start there. And then we have to kind of refine our thinking on what these substances are and what their purposes are in the body. Let's get right to coffee, because I think it's an important substance. There's a ritual to it. At least there should be, and there was. It's so many people go down this health tangent, and coffee's no good, and alcohol's no good, and smoking's no good, and it's completely biased, wrong, and they don't understand. They're just repeating something they heard from some doctor or homeopathic. It's always a response mechanism. It's always a regurgitation of information without understanding a larger process. And when I talk about all of these substances, I'm not telling you to go out and drink a gallon of coffee a day, nor a fifth or a handle of alcohol. I'm never suggesting that. In fact, I always suggest to fast. I suggest minimalism to people. I fully suggest minimalism, but that doesn't mean not to enjoy the world and participate in it. And going farther with this on what coffee is, and coffee as a ritual, if it's used in the right way, and if, once again, getting to saying, coffee is bad for these hundreds of reasons, we can't isolate coffee, just like you can't isolate alcohol. The last video I did was on alcohol doesn't cause a diseased liver, a poor diet does. And if you haven't seen that, feel free to go check that out. But coffee in the same way, we have to look at coffee for what it is. And coffee is a bean. It's an organic thing. The coffee that people are drinking, the amount of chemicals it's sprayed with, the roasting type, the sugar, usually white sugar people are putting in it. All of these things have a big problem for the body. All these things cause distress in the body. The fact that people are drinking 6 cups a day, this is the problem. This is the dilemma, not coffee itself. Coffee is part of, and can be part of, and should be part of, a ritual for people. And I'd like to also say there's different philosophies here on if you want to have a ritualistic life, or if you want to have a spur of the moment, sporadic, hey, what pops up kind of life. For me, I go through phases of both of those things, and that's why I talk about feasting and fasting. I have fasting as ritual, and feasting as, hey, let's enjoy and imbibe and absorb the world as it comes. And I do less magic then, because I just receive the world as it comes. I'll do more magic when I'm fasting than when I'm feasting. And that's just a little side note, but something that I think people should really consider in the way that I speak about feasting and fasting and all these different substances that people consume or choose not to consume. So as coffee sits in its most basic form, if you prepare it the right way and drink it in the morning, what it is basically a digestif. It helps to eliminate the things that you ate the day prior, and this is why it's usually done in the morning. Now, if you're drinking coffee that is of a light roast, it has higher caffeine, plus all these chemicals. But and once again, people think that darker roast has more caffeine, but it doesn't. It has much less caffeine. And in fact, if you go through the process of making espresso, there's even less caffeine and less chemicals that you don't want from the coffee because of how quickly it goes through the process. So when we start to look at the bean itself and what its purpose is, it's to remove what's in the system. Once you've digested and absorbed everything you can from eating the night before, and I'll go a little farther into this, as I've suggested to people should eat at sundown, digest during the evening, wake up and eliminate. This is the next step. I've always spoken of eating in the evening. There's no reason to eat in the morning. You wouldn't break your fast in the morning because then you're putting your body into a digestion mode. So this is why people lose energy. You shouldn't be eating a large breakfast. You shouldn't be eating breakfast at all. Breakfast, to break a fast, should come when the sun goes down. That's when you get tired and your body starts to want to sleep and go through the process of digesting and then absorbing during the evening. And then you wake up and you eliminate. So the coffee is used as a ritualistic elimination. It helps to aid the process, as anybody knows, and this we can even get into what tobacco does as well. It's to help to eliminate. So the digestion process is done. You've absorbed what you can, and now the best way for your body to get moving, and I've again spoke about this as well, that the removal of something from the body is actually what's giving you the energy. By getting rid of any clogs that are anywhere in your system, in your bloodstream, in your digestive tract, wherever it might be. If you have clogs, then you're losing energy. But not by removing those things, you gain energy. Anybody knows they take a shit, they feel better afterwards. Well, obviously. You've removed literal shit from your body, things that shouldn't be in there, or things that have already been used, digested, and absorbed. And so we eliminate it. So the ritual of using substances, if we look at each as is said, let food be your medicine and medicine be your food, the idea is, once again, that everything has some sort of psychedelic quality, has some sort of quality to change the way that you have energy, change the way that you view the world, the way that you're capable of speaking, the way you're capable of moving. All of these substances do. And there's substances that add to, and there's some that take away from. So through all of these rituals that, and as I say, rituals, it can go into sequences, it can go into rhythms, it can go into time frames, it can go into, as the most proficient version of it, you look at the Mayan calendar and the way that they went about organizing life. Almost too organized for me, for my taste, for my understanding of what I like in the world. There's a time and place, and there's a way to experience making a grimoire and making magic so that things happen according to your rhythm and your plan. But the Mayan calendar, I think, went a little too far by placing people as under dominion of the time and of the calendar. Then the calendar that we use now is no less used as a device of dominion over people. But the idea here is what I'm trying to express is that there's I think, depending on your feeling, because it's all, like in life, it's always about what is your feeling? Are you happy? Are you getting out of life what you want? That's the only thing that matters. We can try all these great philosophical discourses on what is the good life, and it doesn't really matter. Do you feel good? How is your experience? I'll say that 1,000 times. And sometimes we go through little things, little uneasy events to get a greater event out of it. Who knows? We don't have to. There's ways of bypassing all of that. There's people believe that they need to struggle for something, but there's also people that don't believe they need to, and they both get what they want, and they both get what they need. So within these larger rhythms and tracks and cycles that we can produce ourselves, just this is in the rhythm of dancing, in the rhythm of what we might do in our life. These rituals and these rhythms that we choose can be constructive or destructive to our life. And there are certain things that it's always hard to tell what was the cause of something. I've spoken at length about this as well, but we often apply this view of this linear process of saying, this thing here caused this. Oh, alcohol caused a fatty liver, which is absolutely impossible and ridiculous to think about. It can't happen. There's no fat in alcohol. It wouldn't work that way. It's the diet. We say coffee causes heart disease. No, we have to look at the diet. We have to look at all the chemicals inside of the bean itself that's been sprayed on there. We're blaming the coffee bean. Oh, we blame the sun for cancer. Well, that's ridiculous. We've been around for how long? All of the rest of these tribes all over the world, they don't have skin cancer. They're actually absorbing the sun and getting melanin. and they're like, whoa, the sun is growing plants, but oh, did we realize we're throwing product on our body that is made of oil, of petroleum, and we're throwing all these other chemicals on our body? And in fact, what cancer is the sun going, hey, can we get this shit out of the body? And so we always blame the wrong thing. We always look at oh, well, that's the thing, that's the closest source. That's what we see as it being the problem. What we see as uh, the carrier of the whatever negative event it might have been. And positive events too. We oftentimes look at the wrong source of something. And as some say, and I kind of side with, there is no cause of anything except for the fact that your mind causes everything. You just don't know about when your mind happened to plant that seed to cause that. And that becomes the dilemma for most people, because they can't understand that a year ago they were having, or like a month ago they were having certain thoughts, and they wonder why something cropped up in their life. And then, but sometimes what we see as synchronicity, or sometimes what we see as deja vu, well, that's the clue in right there to it's your mind doing this. And that earlier you thought about this. Deja vu, oftentimes, if not 100% of the time, is you having, you living out your dream that you had maybe the night before, or maybe a week ago. But because most people are unaware of how to access, control, and remember their dreams, they don't know that they had it. But that's what the deja vu is, the subconscious mind just going, hey, remember that? Oh, here it is. It's happening in 3D. And so we're like, oh, we're living out the dream. So all of these things here are to kind of get people more geared into how to look at ritual, how to look at time, how to look at what process of digestion and elimination is, how these certain substances work, and what they should be used for in the body, and how we can start to affect and control our reality around us, and by using these substances in the way that forms a conduit for us to know what its use is, that conduit is to get the result that we want. And so coffee in and of itself is a great idea. It's a great idea in the morning. Get rid of what you don't need. Alcohol is a great idea. It cleanses things, just like vinegar, just like kombucha. It doesn't have to be. So many things are seen as some demonic or bad thing, but once again, if we really look into all of these substances, a lot of the substances that are claimed to be very good are a lot closer to, if there is an essential bad, or an essential some sort of negative force, or something that actually goes against growth and human potential. So we need to look a little deeper into what it is we're ingesting, and how quickly we should get these things out of our body, and how to do that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little talk on coffee and rituals and a little bit of deja vu. Have a beautiful day, y'all. Talk soon.